stress of the holiday season getting to anyone else, because clearly it's gotten to me. Greetings internet, and welcome back to my channel. I know you guys haven't heard that one in a while. I haven't said greetings internet, which is like my thing. I don't know where it went. It just like went out the window. I don't know where it went, but it's back. You guys are the closest thing I have to roommates, so how are you? How's it hanging? How's life? How's work? How's school? How are things going? I know the holidays are stressful. I think the biggest stressor for me right now is getting the right gifts for people. And my mom and my sister are pretty easy because we're all very similar in what we like, kind of, and I feel like there's always a new makeup product out or always a new accessory or something that I know that they'll like and want and use. But for my dad, it's very stressful. I always end up getting him like a video game or something. I mean, what do you get for a person that has literally everything they could possibly want? My dad's pretty, you know, simple, very classic, pretty, you know, masculine, likes bourbon and stuff like that because he has all daughters, and so he needs to be like, you know, masculine still. So I was thinking about what to get him. My friends at Distillery sent me a bunch of colognes in the mail and were like, give this to a special guy in your life, and I'm like, well, I don't have a boyfriend, so and then I was like, wait, I do have a special guy in my life, my dad. And there's one in particular that I was like, my dad would definitely love this, and he's been wearing the same cologne for like the past 35 years, and so I think it's time for an upgrade. He just turned 50 recently, so I think it's time for a new scent. So these beautiful colognes, the cologne sets, all sorts of things are available at Walmart. You're not breaking the bank to give your special man or dad, uncle, cousin, second cousin twice removed an amazing scent this holiday season or any time of year. They also have these really nice gift sets that come with a bunch of little minis. So we have like shampoo, we have aftershave. Just look for this packaging when you're at Walmart, and like I said, I'll have all the information down below if you guys are interested in purchasing any of this stuff. If I ever have a guy friend in my life that needs a little help, I'm gonna say I have a little present for you. There's nothing better than a guy that just smells good. Like, tell me I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm gonna do my makeup, but I'm also going to chat with you guys about these questions you guys asked me. Wow, you guys are really digging in deep, aren't you? I'm using a new camera today, and I keep looking for like the pop out. I don't have the pop out feature on this one yet. I'm gonna buy the little thing that you like, there's like a thing, but for now I can only look in the mirror behind you. I feel like this is like the old school YouTube days where no one had a flip out, like, what are those things called? Viewfinder. So I'm like just hoping that I'm in focus, and I don't have an assistant, but if I did, I'd be like, assistant, make sure I'm in focus, but I don't have one. I need one. Okay, so anyway, Glad Skin Eczema Soothing Cream. This is my pride and joy of the moment. I don't know what I would do without this cream. My skin is really not happy with me right now. Can it just not be winter anymore? I'm done. Take some on my fingers, not too much, and I just kind of just apply it, especially under my eyes. It's really bad. It's a very thick moisturizer, so I kind of just let it sit, let it chill here for a sec. While I'm letting my face chill, I'm gonna answer a question. A lot of questions about my dating, going on dates, a lot of those questions. Someone asked, what is your pre-date ritual? One thing that I do before every single date I go on is I call a friend. Like one of my various friends in the city, I think it's really important just getting a little pump up before I go. So I always call, at least, like I phone a friend, literally phone a friend, and I just get a little like pump up speech, you know? And I've done it to my friends, like when they're going on dates and they need a little extra like pump up. Like I've given some nice pep talks in my day, you know, some nice pep talks. Sometimes if I'm really nervous, I'll just take a shot or something, but I don't recommend that. Or maybe I do, I don't know. I mean, at your own discretion. All right, so my beauty blender is hard as a rock, and we can't have that, so I'll be right back. What is the hardest thing about being your own boss? I think just like the trickiest thing about freelancing in general is just managing your time well. Having a boss was nice because it at least helped me stay on task, in the sense that I had like a set number of things I need to do every single day at certain times, and there were certain meetings at certain times on certain days, and it was like very, very structured, which I think it was too structured for me. I need a little less structure in order to like stay creative and such. And so that was part of the reason why I couldn't handle corporate life. But now it's like I have absolutely no structure, so I need to like invent that. But I feel like now that I'm working with more structured clients that have structure in their own corporate sense finances, it's making it easier for me to be structured. Managing my time will never be a super easy thing for me to do, just because I get really sidetracked. It's like when you clean your room and you like get really like inspired by certain things and you stop cleaning, you're like, ooh, I found something I thought I lost, and then you get like super obsessed with it. Yeah, that's like me, but like every day. So I'm easily distracted, if that makes sense. Putting on some concealer. This is the Instant Age Rewind from Maybelline. I think it's my favorite concealer. Don't tell my friends at L'Oreal Paris that I said that. Love you guys. So yeah, I think also just being a freelancer, it's easy to say yes to too many projects. I think that's like another thing I've been experiencing, is just needing to know when to say no. Okay, so next we are going to do foundation and answer another question. I've been using my Laura Mercier Silk Cream Moisturizing Photo Edition foundation. That's quite the mouthful. For quite a while now, I like that it is moisturizing. My ugly band-aid has been making quite the appearance in this video, I'm realizing now, but okay. Just going to apply this foundation. I love how it smells, honestly. I love how certain foundations smell, which is weird about me. There was this one L'Oreal foundation when I worked there that I was like, I just love the smell, and no one agreed with me. This foundation is super long lasting. Like, I feel like I wear it all day and it doesn't go anywhere. How is your fitness journey coming along? It's not really coming along. I have a gym membership. I like go to classes every once in a while, but like I don't prioritize it at all, and I need to. That's me being truthful with you guys. I'm one of those people where I just feel like there's so many other things I could be doing, which is not how I should view it. I think what I need to do is find something that I truly love, if that makes sense, like kind of like a sport or something that I feel is more than just me running in place in a building on a treadmill or doing squats. I definitely need to try more classes, face my fear a bit more, because I think when you're doing it with other people, it makes it a lot easier to get through, obviously, and it makes it more fun. Jane Jemmy asks, what is a book that has made you change your perspective on something? Educated by Tara Westover was probably the most eye-opening book that I've read this year. I want to do a whole video on just the best books I've read this year, because you guys know I had this New Year's resolution where I was going to read one book every 3 weeks for the entire year of 2019, and I actually kept up with it, which is incredible. I'm using the City Bronzer from Maybelline in 200. It's like one of the lighter shades of bronzer. For a while I didn't know that there was like multiple different shades of bronzer. Like I thought there was just like one shade and you had to make it work for you, no matter how fair or deep skinned you were. I'm an idiot, basically. Yeah, Tara Westover's Educated was probably the most eye-opening book I've read this year, because it's about just, well, first of all, it makes you rethink your entire childhood. It's a true story told by Tara Westover herself about her youth and about how she just so wanted to be educated as a child, and her parents didn't understand, or her parents didn't see value in Western education because they just thought that it was something that wasn't God's will, or they just, you know, homeschooling was the only way, and even still it wasn't like your main priority. It was like, you know, having kids and having a home and working and stuff like that. So it was super eye-opening. I cried multiple times while reading the book. I don't want to say too much because there's a lot that happens in the book that is kind of essential to the plot, so I don't want to say too much, but I just want to say definitely get your hands on it, because it will change your perspective so much on just like what it means to be educated. This lighting is very interesting. I'm not sure if I'm putting on too much bronzer. Can you tell me? Is freelancing really as glamorous as it looks? Like, how about them bills to pay? Yeah, a lot of questions are about my finances. A lot of people asking how I managed to basically cut my earnings in half when I quit L'Oreal. How do I manage to still stay afloat and things like that, which are all extremely valid things to ask. I think that, you know, obviously it was no secret that I was making decent money at L'Oreal, and although I do make money from YouTube and stuff, like there's still a significant pay cut that happened. I'm using NARS Deep Throat Blush. You guys know I love that name. So to answer that question, I guess I would just say, basically for a long time I have been saving money. And when I say a long time, I mean years, knowing that I'd eventually hopefully get to the point where I could freelance. I've entertained the idea of freelancing for so long, even when I was still in college. I thought that eventually I would be on my own and would be my own boss, and that was kind of a goal for me, to be able to do a bunch of different projects. And I didn't even really know it was called freelancing at the time. I wanted to do a bunch of different things. I wanted to create for a bunch of different clients, and I didn't even really know what a client was at that point, but that's what I wanted to do. So ever since probably my sophomore year of college, I've been saving, kind of putting money into like a dream fund almost, where I knew I would spend it someday, but I didn't know on what or how or whatever. And so although I haven't had to dip into it yet because I'm still making enough money in my freelancing jobs that I don't need to, and I can still pay rent, still support myself, I have that money there for me if I fail, which I might not, but I might, and I might need to dip into it at some point. It doesn't even really mean that I failed, it just means that I need a little bit of help from my past self. Luckily, because I was working my butt off in college, working on YouTube videos and doing all this stuff while also being a student, and like I've worked really hard in my day to be able to enjoy this type of lifestyle, I think. And that's what I tell myself. I think some people think I'm a little bit reckless, but I don't think I am at all. I think I'm just doing what I've always wanted to do, finally, which is nice. What's your type, and how do you know if your type is good or bad for you? I can already tell you my type is bad for me because I basically go for the same kind of person and expect different results every time, okay? A truer statement has never been said for me. I don't even know how I just came up with that, but it's true. Like, I typically go for guys that super hardworking, you know, super driven, super like good at talking, good with people, good with their families, whatever. But in doing so and going after those people, and I think that that's definitely just my type for life, that's how it's always going to be. But here at 24 in Manhattan, people in that kind of classification, they're slaves to their jobs, they are bad at communication because they're working so much, or such people, how do you say that? Plural. People? So good with people, so friendly, they have so many friends that they're always out with their friends, they just don't have time for me, basically, this type of person. I like dark hair, kind of, I guess like a dark brown, or a brown to like a dark brown, but like not too light. I never really dated anyone bleach blonde, but that's typically the type I go for. And I don't think that they're bad people per se, so maybe they're not bad for me, but I just feel like I kind of freak out if I don't get a text for 3 days, you know? Which I think any girl would, right? Back me up here, please. Okay. I feel like a lot of people have that similar type. I wish I went for more artsy people. People always say to me, they're like, oh, you should go for like a photographer or someone with a creative career because their hours are more similar to yours, and like their lifestyle and how they operate, and a lot of them work from home and stuff like that. And you know, that sounds all fine and dandy, and I wish that I could. I always go for guys that are like completely polar opposite from me, and I don't know why. Using a brow crayon, this is Shape and Fill from L'Oreal. The words are no longer there because I've used it so much. I love this thing because it has a spoolie on the end, and it's like a very like heavy duty thick spoolie, so I love this guy. You guys know I went on that date the other day because I won't shut up about it. We actually went on a second date that I didn't film over the weekend, and now that it's just like the holidays, I feel like things are just like kind of up in the air, which is natural and fine, and like I don't know, I don't want to get my hopes up. He actually also admitted to me that he watched my video and he was like, wow, you really were nervous. And I'm like rewatching the video thinking, wow, yeah, I was a nervous wreck, kind of, like, to put it lightly. I really need a brow wax. Does anyone else like stress pull at their brows? I think I pull at my brows when I'm stressed, or like go like this. I'm kind of all over the place with my makeup, so I'm using this L'Oreal Paradise palette. It's like a summery palette, but I like this one shade right here. I always just use this one pearly shade in here and just put it all across my lid for every day. I'm not wearing a ton of makeup today just because I'm going to a shoot and I'm behind the camera, so it doesn't really matter how much makeup I'm wearing, to be honest. And so I'm just putting on this pearly shade. I also probably won't do my hair. This is my natural hair. Although I do think I need a haircut, and you guys need to tell me if I do, because my hair is like actually out of frame. It's so long right now. It's down like past my boobs, and that's when you know it's been like grown out for a while. Someone asks, how long do you want to stay in New York City? Probably a while. I think I want to be here, like, don't quote me on this because I'm not sure, but I think I want to be here until I have a family, like until I have kids, like that long. But I just feel so inspired here. I love this city with all of my heart and soul, and although it can be tough just in terms of a lot of things, I mean, it's busy, it's loud, there's a lot happening, there's a lot of people, some people aren't very nice, but I feel like you'll find that anywhere. It's hard to date. Let me take that back. It's easy to date, hard to settle down, I guess, People just are so fast paced here and very focused on their work, but I just love it. So I think I'll be here for a long time. So my camera turned off at some point, so I don't know how long it hasn't been recording, which is kind of upsetting. Worst date experience, Sasha wants to know. While I apply my eyeliner, this is L'Oreal Infallible 16-hour black eyeliner. I'm going to tell you guys about the worst date experience I've had in New York. I've talked about this on the podcast, so if you're from the podcast, you might already know it, but you might also not know it. So anyway, basically, I matched this guy on Hinge, and he said he was 6 feet tall, looked a certain way, you know, looked like tall, dark, and handsome situation, and then he works at this one tech company you definitely know. I don't want to say it just for like privacy reasons. I don't want you tracking this guy down and burning down his house or anything, but anyway, so he works at a tech company, and he's from this one town in Jersey or something, and then basically super funny guy, like really quick with banter, like just sounded like a really nice, ideal guy for me. Also said he was from Manhattan. He lives in Manhattan, lives here. He was just checking all the boxes for me. I get to this date spot that he picked, which was a really nice date spot. We were just getting drinks, and he walks in. He's 5'7", like definitely not more than 5'7", maybe 5'8", because I was wearing 3-inch heels and I was 5'5", and we were like the same height. And that was a big deal for me, not because he was 5'7", but because he lied about it by so much. Like, I get it, you give yourself, if you're like 5'11", you say you're 6 feet, like, I kind of get that, I guess. I mean, I don't see why you have to lie, but like, whatever. But 5'7" to 6 feet, that's a huge gap. Anyway, so he lied about that. Then I was like, oh, like, where do you live in the city? Like, oh, you said like Tribeca. He was like, oh, well, actually, I live in Brooklyn. And I'm like, oh, you just moved there? He's like, no, I've always lived there. I'm like, then why does it say Tribeca on your Hinge profile? And he was like, I thought people wouldn't want to go on a date with me because I live in Brooklyn. Which, like, I've never discriminated in that way before, but I know people that definitely have, because it's like so far away, but it's really not. But you know, some people think that way. But still, he lied about a second thing. And then it was just a very uncomfortable conversation. I don't know, like, I think I kind of turned off. Like, I turned kind of cold once I realized how he lied twice about things. I was kind of like looking at the clock, like waiting for the date to be over. It was not what I was expecting at all. So basically he lied about those two things. And then to make matters worse, like at the end of the date, he walks me home, because we weren't that far from my apartment. He walks me home and basically like goes in for the kiss. And it was so awkward because I didn't want to kiss him, like this lying, I just like didn't want to kiss him. I was not feeling the same way about him. I didn't want to see him again. And he goes in for the kiss, and I basically just said, oh, like, it's so nice. Like, I went in for the hug instead or something, like kind of deflecting. My doorman saw this whole thing, by the way. He thought it was hilarious. And the guy got mad at me. Like, he got very mad at me for not wanting to kiss him. And he basically, yeah, he got mad, and it was just a very uncomfortable conversation. And I was like, okay, bye, good night, see you never. I didn't say that, but like I said, good night. So awkward, so awkward. I'm getting like weird, awkward feelings right now thinking about it. And then of course, like, he texted me saying like, had such a great time last night. I'm like, did you know? Like, I didn't. I certainly didn't. I basically said, like, I'm sorry, I just didn't, you know, feel the same way, or I don't know what I exactly said. It was a very good text, and I sent it to like 2 of my friends to make sure it was good. Sent it off to him. He didn't respond, and then ever since, I think he just like decided to pretend like I didn't say that, and he's just been like kind of randomly hitting me up and like asking me what I'm doing and stuff. And God. Anyway, that was probably the worst, which is, you know, that isn't even that bad. It could have been a lot worse than that. So I'm kind of happy that's the worst date I've been on, but it was very uncomfortable, and mostly because he lied. Moral of the story here is, kids, don't lie on your Hinge profile, because you're just gonna get caught in the lie, or people are just gonna be like, what gives? Like, I mean, don't Facetune your pictures. Don't, like, just look how you look in person, and I promise you, you'll go on a lot more second dates. What has been your most embarrassing moment in the city? So I don't know my most embarrassing moment per se. There's definitely something better than what I'm thinking of like on the spot here, but something pretty embarrassing that did happen to me recently. I didn't know how to mail a letter. I don't know if it's embarrassment or just sheer stupidity on my part, or just like naivete. Like, I just didn't know. My Gen Z was showing, basically. I went to the literal post office when there's mailboxes all through the city, like mail. There are a million of those like blue mailboxes throughout the city. I just like didn't even know that that's how you mail a letter. Like, I did not know that you literally just put it in the slot and the mailman comes and brings it to where it's supposed to go, or whatever. I went all the way to the literal post office, which is like a mile away from here. And when I walk in, I go, hi, I'm trying to mail a letter. And she's like, okay, like you can give it to me, but like you didn't have to come all this way to mail a letter. So essentially I learned that day that these little blue mailboxes exist, or what do you call those, like mail drop-off boxes. Anyway, learned those existed, and then the next time I had to mail out my rent check, I went to one of these boxes like nearby, and I couldn't figure out how to put the letter in the slot. Like I couldn't find like the opening because it's kind of like under and you have to like go like this, but I was just like trying to, oh my god, it was so embarrassing because there's a bar right there and it was like a Friday or something. People were just like out in the street, like definitely staring at this girl who clearly has never mailed a letter in her life. And so basically that was pretty embarrassing. There's definitely been worse moments. So now I'm a pro at it. If you guys ever need help mailing a letter, you know who to ask, because I'm a total pro. I know exactly where the stamp goes. Someone else asks, how do you approach guys when you're out? Shots are usually the way to any guy's heart in a bar, or if they ordered something and it's like on the bar, they ordered shots for them and their guy friends or something, you say, oh, is one of those for me? It's backfired a few times because the girlfriend will like come up behind the guy and it goes south at that point. But the way I see it in this city especially, it's like, I'm never gonna see you ever again. Or I might if this goes well, but there's a very strong chance I'll never see you again. So I just, you know, I put it all out there, especially when I've had some liquid courage. So that is usually how I approach guys when I'm out. Or I just literally say, you're cute. I feel like just cutting right to the chase is so important, especially when you have your girlfriends there to kind of back you up and kind of like urge you to do things, especially when we're playing Truth or Dare, which I love to do. We play this new game. It's actually not new anymore. We've been doing this for a few months, but we'll play literal Truth or Dare in the bar, and a lot of times we just cut right to the chase and we do Dare or Dare, so you just have to do you kiss on the first date? Yes, if I'm feeling it. I think, yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. I see nothing wrong also with waiting until like another date. I think the anticipation factor is really great, but I don't see a problem with kissing on the first date at all. All of these questions are about dating. Okay, I'm done. I'm just gonna line my lips and put on some lipstick. Well, I don't have the lipstick with me right now, so we're just gonna line, but I'm using Lip Cheat from Charlotte Tilbury. It's nice if you have smaller lips and you use this, you can what is it called? Overline your lips, and it looks natural. So I just line my lips like that, pop my lipstick on, which is over there, so I'm gonna do that after the video. But yeah, super nice. So this is my everyday makeup look. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and happy Vlogmas, guys. I'll see you guys in my next one.